What's up, everybody? Once again, it is I, James, coming to you from the Nerdy Musings podcast studio. I am very excited to be joined today, all the way 9 hours in the future, Mr. Thomas Nachlik. How you doing today, sir?
I'm very good. Thank you.
Good. No spoilers. No spoilers on future events.
No, definitely not.
Yes, yes.
Uh,
Uh, it's funny when you look up your name on Google to look up your artwork and things. Some of the first thing that comes up at the top, it says that you live in Germany with your wife and two cats.
that's
Accurate?
correct. Absolutely.
I love it.
Cats are family
Fellow
for
cat
us.
dad.
Yes,
Only
that
two,
is
huh?
true. Yeah, not
Okay.
crazy cat. They're just a regular
You're
one.
not like me. You're not. You're
No, no,
not.
no. How many do you have?
We are up to five.
Wow.
Five is the most
Oh,
we've ever had, and we're back up to five. We were down to three for a bit, and yeah, it's crazy how that works. I feel like after you've had two, like getting more is not that far of a stretch. So be careful, because sometimes they find you. You've heard of the cat distribution system, right?
I did, but I don't think they will find me because where I live, not too many cats running around.
Okay.
So
You're
I don't
not
think
you're
so.
not like in the
We bought
country,
our
or
cats.
you're not in the country
Yeah.
area or anything like that where you're gonna.
No. Plus, our cats are already 14 years old.
Oh,
So,
okay. So you got some senior cats there.
yeah.
Yeah, we
And
have
they're very
one.
furry. We're drowning in cat fur.
I bet.
So I
Same
don't think
here.
one more cat and we're done.
Well, this is not the cat podcast, as I'm sure many people are like, what did I tune into here? They're just talking about cats, even though the Nerdy Musings logo is a cat, very appropriately. Thomas, I wanted to talk a little bit about your career in art and kind of when did your relationship with art begin? What's your earliest memory of wanting to create art and starting that process?
I think the first one was when my uncle. I was probably maybe 7 or 8. My uncle drew a Native American chief head, the profile of a head for me with all the feathers and because he was a little bit in the drawing. I was blown away by this one, and I started copying it. So I took a piece of paper and I did my own version of it and over again. So I think that's my earliest memory. And then a few years later, I think. So I grew up in Poland, and
Okay.
we had a famous animation studio in Poland back then in the 80s. And some of my friends, one of my friends brought a uh, animation cell with him and showed us like my whatever any relative is doing this. As he's like an animator, and then I saw the this transparent paper and then those pencil lines on it. The look of the pencil lines on this paper and those precise pencil lines, I don't know, it made my head explode.
Nice.
Uh, and I still love pencil on white paper. So I think that's the second memory.
Yeah,
And then I started drawing
there's
more and
something
more.
about that, isn't there? The pencil on paper. Like for me, I always I have a lot of the artist edition books, and a lot of
Mm.
them are the inked pages, but then some of them, like DC does the unwrapped ones for certain things, and it's just all the beautiful pencils. Like I could look at that stuff all day. I'm sure you're the same way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, so you saw this animation cell, you saw the beautiful pencils, you had already taken the drawing and were kind of trying to replicate, recreate, understand how things worked. From there, did you start to approach it in the manner of, okay, I want to get some formal training and start learning more?
Um, I mean, I was very young back then. I don't think so. I remember I asked my grandpa. He was like my father figure back then. How they do it, and I think by then I already saw like actual comic books as well. Somebody showed me. We had in Poland. We had also had a lot of a huge comic book scene.
Oh, nice. That was going to be my
Um,
next question. Yeah, the transition
yeah,
to the comics. So Poland actually had a, because I know some countries like comics aren't, that big of a thing, but so Poland actually had a big comic book scene.
yeah. Even back then in the 80s, when Poland was still a communist country.
Okay.
Um, so, Thorgal. It's I think it's published by I think Dark Horse. It's a comic book about
Yes.
a Viking.
Yep.
So the writer was, or I think he still is Polish. So
Okay.
Thorgal was very popular in Poland. We also had a few other books, other series. Um, so I asked my granddad how they do it, and he told me they have a special kind of paper, and they use ink and nibs, and I uh, wanted ink and nibs for my next birthday. I
Yeah.
don't remember, I think. So I kind of started drawing more and more every day at school, uh, at home, all the time. I was just drawing. I remember at school, I think it was math. I spent the whole hour just drawing with
Yeah.
the teacher, and how she's explaining things with word balloons and stuff. So she saw the drawings. She took them, destroyed them, gave me like a what's the worst
Like a
in F or
like an
something. Yeah, like
F.
in Poland,
Yeah.
what it was a in Poland it was a two, I think.
Okay.
And yeah, she was furious. And yeah,
She
so
didn't she
I
didn't
was
grab it and go, "Oh my goodness, this is so
no, no,
good."
no, 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 no. Like my friends liked it, but not the teachers.
Yeah.
And
Now,
my family was extremely supportive.
oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so they got me the paper, got me the nibs and ink, and yeah.
Now, as you got older and you were in high school and all of these things or college, did you start approaching art in a serious way? Like, did you start looking into some formal art training at that point?
Um, I at first I did not. I think I applied. No, I submitted my stuff to DC many years ago.
Okay.
Um, they rejected me because it was really bad. And then I uh, applied for a design college, but it was car styling, and later illustration. No, not illustration, multimedia design, digital website design, stuff like this.
Yes.
Uh, but uh, all I know about art or drawing is like it's self-taught.
That's awesome. Yeah, this
Yeah.
this conversation comes up a lot on here. You know, people will go the traditional route with the formal training, but it seems like the majority, especially for art for comics, a lot of it is training from looking at books, looking at videos, a lot of self-taught copying things and this type of thing. So it sounds like that
Mm.
was more of your path, even though you did take some art class or whatever. It was more the learning from what art you were looking at, the comics and things, and in
Yeah,
developing your work
exactly.
from there.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
started when internet wasn't existing yet,
yeah,
so I drew from other comic books, from life or movies, stuff like this.
Now, were Western comics available at that time when you were coming up? Were you looking at any Western comics?
Yeah, I had one Superman comic, which blew my mind even more. Uh, it was in German. I was still in Poland, but it was in German. I didn't understand. I couldn't read it because I didn't understand. I didn't care. All I
Right.
cared was the art. And I know on the I think the last page was a cover with Batman on it, which blew my mind even more.
Yes.
So I wanted to get my hands on Batman. I didn't know who it was. Uh, so yeah, I had there were a few U.S. comics being like given to friends. So we had a few. We shared.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Made its way to you.
But everything was DC. No Marvel.
That's what I was gonna
Until
say.
today, I'm a DC guy.
Okay, okay. Yeah, no
Yeah.
no shame in that. Like, it's interesting that you mentioned that DC was the one you first submitted to. So I was going to ask you like, okay,
Yeah.
it sounds more like a DC leaning guy here.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Because I grew up on it.
Yeah. Now you've done work for all different publishers though since breaking in. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that process because you did apply to DC many years ago and you said, it was rejected and everything. So take me to the point where you broke in. You've got your first professional work.
Um, I think this was back in, let me think, '07. Uh, I went to Wizard World Chicago in '07, and I met a guy who was the marketing guy for Top Cow back then, Philip Sublik.
Nice.
He's got his own publishing company now.
Yep.
Um, and we connected because he was born in Poland as well.
Oh,
I
wow.
remember, yeah, he told me we Polish guys stick together.
Nice.
So he he had his own. I think he wrote his own story with a friend, and he wanted to publish it through Top Cow, called Last Mortal. Um, and eventually he did. So this was my first larger book, I would say. Uh,
So getting
yeah,
in right away, your work is being published under Top Cow. That's pretty cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was lucky.
Now, did you get to meet Mark and anybody at that point in your career,
Yeah,
Silvestri?
yeah. I visited Top Cow once. I
Nice.
remember, and I think in 20 no in 2008 or something. Uh, I'm not sure, but I met him. Yeah, at the studios. Yeah,
That's a big dude.
yeah,
That's a
yeah,
tall guy.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Super nice. Yeah,
Super nice, super tall,
awesome.
amazing artist. Did you have an
Yeah,
appreciation for his work? Had you seen his work prior to that?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Same as everybody else, I started reading Image Comics back in 1990 or something.
Yeah,
Uh, and yeah, he was one of my favorite artists. Max Silvestri still is.
still.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
amazing.
released that Batman book out of nowhere and just blew everybody
Yeah,
away.
yeah,
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 apparently he'd been working on that book for many years. I've heard stories that he was showing people pages from that like 10 or more years ago that he was working,
yeah. Wow.
just trudging away in secret.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely could see the Bernie Wrightson kind of influence in what he did there. It was phenomenal.
yeah, absolutely. Looks like a labor of love for sure.
Yes. Now, since we're on the subject of artists, who are or who were some artists you were gravitating towards that you really took inspiration from for your work?
Um, I'd say Jim Aparo, Alan Davis, because I was into Batman the Outsiders.
Yeah.
Loved that series. So I think Alan Davis, I think even more. And then guys like John Paul Leon, like the regular superstars.
Yeah.
I like Maleev as well. Yeah.
Yeah, all those guys' stuff is phenomenal in its own regard. Like, did you ever get into any Neil Adams or any of the more classical? You know, because you were DC, so I'm trying to think who was some DC people also that you might have been into. Because Neil did a little run on Batman there that was pretty cool. Um, yeah, Neil? Anybody else that you could think of?
No, I missed that. I mean, I know who Neil is and his
Yes,
work,
yes.
but I don't think I ever looked at the old stuff from DC. It's the same with I'm kind of a same with music. Everybody's telling me that you need to listen to 70s music because that's where everything started. Because I'm a metal guy,
Right.
so 70s music, and I'm like, I don't, dude, I don't listen to 70s music. I'm
You're
sorry.
like, I like what
It's
I
it,
like.
yeah, and same with comic books. Those classic artists.
Yeah.
I I know the books. I'm familiar with the art, but I'm like not an expert. So
Well, I'm sure you
yeah,
have some favorites from the Image era because you mentioned
yeah,
Image, so that sounds like it's in your wheelhouse of
yeah,
stuff that you like. So we talked Silvestri, and obviously a guy who drew this shirt, Mr. McFarlane, was a pretty big deal at
yeah,
that time. Did you get into Todd's work back then?
yeah. Of course, Spawn.
You don't have to say
Uh,
that just because you're doing a book for him. Don't worry.
no, no,
I'm
no, no.
just
Really,
joking.
no, 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 for sure. No, no. Uh, so yeah, Jim Lee, obviously. Also Travis Charest.
Oh yeah, phenomenal.
This guy is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Especially his older stuff, his Wildcats and dude.
Well, what's really interesting was, if you look at his first stuff when he came in, and then he's kind of like a Jim Lee clone, sort of, with a little bit of his own twist on it, and then he just
Yeah,
came out of nowhere with his own crazy style and just blew everybody away, and
yeah,
continues to blow people away. Any piece that comes out, it's just like he knocks it out of the ballpark.
yeah, absolutely.
So we
Uh,
got Travis, we got Todd, Jim, all the usual suspects. Did you ever get into any of Dale Keown stuff, like on Pitt? Did you read Pitt?
I didn't. First off, I don't read comic books. I only look
Yeah,
at the artwork.
I'm the same way. I'm glad there's somebody else out there that
I'm
does.
not even lying to you, man. I don't read.
I have a couple I read, but for
Yeah,
the most part, it's flipping
yeah,
through
me as well.
and
I have a
studying the art.
few. Yeah, yeah, same, same. So yeah, uh, Pitt was, yeah, Pitt was awesome.
Yeah,
So
his rendering on that was always something that
yeah, it's
I
crazy. Yeah,
aspired to,
absolutely crazy. Yeah,
that 90s style with the crazy cross hatching on everything was just like
yeah,
that was my jam for quite some time.
yeah. Same as Jay Lee. The
Yeah.
stuff he did for Wildstorm was. I remember I didn't like it. I bought. I think he had like a mini series. Wildcats. I think it was Wildcats.
Yep.
And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Sorry. Am I allowed? By the
Yeah,
way, am I
yeah,
allowed to
absolutely. Yeah.
curse? Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? And
Yeah.
then a few years later, I looked at it again. I'm like, dude, that's genius.
Isn't that funny how that works? Like we can see this work and it doesn't appeal, and then I feel like our sensibilities change the more, the more art we continue to create and the more our appreciation for art develops. It's like, oh wait, actually what he was doing there was brilliant, and I just
Mm,
didn't have the frame of reference to realize it at the time.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's a
Same with
lot of
whiskey. By the way, it's similar. Like when you're younger and you try whiskey, it's like, dude, it's awful. It's disgusting.
Right?
And then years later, wow,
You're like, wait
it's
a
actually
moment.
really good. Yeah.
So we talked about Todd a tiny bit. So the elephant in the room that we have to speak of is the fact that you've been working on the Salmon Twitch book for quite a while now. So I wanted to talk about how you got your introduction into working for Todd and take me down that memory lane a little bit because that had to be pretty surreal to be working for one of the icons of the industry.
So I think he found me on Instagram and he contacted my agent back then. And my agent asked me if I wanted to work for Todd McFarlane, and I'm like, why me?
Yeah, right.
Like, I'm like,
You
this
had to
guy
be
only
wondering if it was
the best
real.
guys. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I of course said yes, and then so they sent me I think a 5-page script for Spawn 323, and I only had like 5 days for 5 pages, and I wasn't used to doing 1 page per day. And I knew from other artists, Todd is looking for guys who can do 20 pages per month.
Right.
So I was already, I'm gonna try to do this, but I don't know if I'm able to. Um, but I was much faster than I thought, maybe because it's Todd.
Yeah.
So I finished my 5 pages,
Get a little
and he,
inspiration, a little extra
yeah, yeah, yeah,
motivation. Yeah.
yeah, he was really happy with it. And then then I got an email from his assistant telling me that Todd wants to talk to you when we have time. I'm like, what the uh, I was a little bit starstruck.
Yeah.
And I was starstruck only 2 times in my life. First time when I met Larry Fitzgerald, you know the wide receiver,
Yep.
Cardinals wide receiver. Uh, so I remember I gave him my jersey to sign, and he did it, and I was like, I almost fainted.
Yeah.
So that's the one time, and the second time I was at a Comic Con New York. I don't remember when, but I was sitting signing a book, a series I did for Image, and then somebody came up from behind me, like patted my shoulder, our shoulder. We were two guys, and said, "That's the future of comics." And it was Todd.
Wow.
You know, so that's the second time. So then like I'm supposed to have a private Zoom call with Todd.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had this, but went fine. Todd was, as always, super nice. Uh, he is very funny. He's almost a stand-up comedian when he
He
talks to
really
you.
is. Yeah.
And then he was like, "What would you like to do for me? Like, what book would you like to do? What do you like to draw?" I wasn't used to publishers asking me what I want to draw. Like, nobody does that. Maybe when you're like a huge name,
Yeah.
usually no publisher asks you, "What do you like to draw?" So I told him like, I Salmon Twitch would be awesome. Uh, and then yeah, okay. And then I got uh, a Gunslinger Spawn gig from him, another 5 pages, and then some fill-ins in Spawn. I think in 2 issues. Then at some point he started sending me script pages for Sam and Twitch. And I think I did 2 issues. We didn't know when this is coming out. Uh, it was supposed to be a fill-in and Spawn comics, an original Spawn series. So I didn't know, is it gonna be a book or
Right.
a note series or maybe whatever, a mini or something. And then they asked me to. No, I think then I told them. No, I told Sean Lewis, the writer of Kingspawn, if he was interested in doing Ravenspawn with me, Ravenspawn series, and he was. So they gave me two fill-ins in Kingspawn. I think Kingspawn 8, Kingspawn 7 and 8. And then they asked me to do the whole Kingspawn 9 issue. And then a few months later, I was supposed to do Kingspawn 13 to 15 with Ravenspawn in it, which was awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did some other stuff for them that isn't published yet. It's finished, but it might be out sometime. I don't know. I can't talk about it.
Yeah, secret
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. So yeah,
Your style is very well suited for the world of Spawn, I feel. You have that gritty, dark, like this is the style I think of when I think of Salmon Twitch or I think of Spawn. I envision your style of art on there. So it's really cool to see somebody, being put into a book that they really fit with. So it sounds like Todd actually asked you kind of, hey, what do you like to do, and you were able to have a little influence on where you ended up, what you ended up working on. So that had to be a really neat experience for you.
yeah, absolutely. And until today, I don't know why he hired me because I don't have a huge opinion on my work. Uh, so yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe it's like you say. Maybe I fit the universe.
Yeah, you
I
saw
feel very I
something.
feel very like this whole universe is like perfect for me. I like drawing dark stuff, gritty books, and they let you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, he saw something in you. I mean, there was something he saw that caused him to, have his person reach out to you. So that's pretty cool. This is another example of, it's always this thing when I talk to people on here and we talk about breaking in or how they got a certain project, and it's like you just never know because it's different for everybody. Like some people are submitting things and that's how they get work. Some people it's word of mouth. For you, just, Todd McFarlane reached out. No big deal.
yeah. I was lucky, but before that, I submitted a lot of pages to publishers.
Yeah, and you had been published prior to that, but I'm just saying
Yeah,
the fact that through your online presence he saw your work and reached out, like it just shows that. I think it shows the importance of having your work out there on social media, on the
yeah,
platforms, even if you don't enjoy social media, so to speak. Like having it be like a portfolio you work for your work has to be an important thing for any up and coming artists out there. Would you agree with that?
yeah. Absolutely. And I think you can even take him into your postings, and there's a good chance that he will look at it.
Yeah,
Maybe he doesn't reply, but I think he's always looking for artists.
I think
Yeah,
he is. Yeah, and I've seen other artists do that too, to where I saw like a tweet from like 2 years ago where this artist was looking for somebody to work on a book, and then I just made the connection in my brain like, oh, that guy is now working on this book for them. It was like he did like basically like a just a little talent search through Twitter. It was like, hey, show me your portfolio. And then now I look and this guy is doing this book for him. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty
yeah,
cool. This is the times we live in. It's a little different, like a little more connectivity and access. So I think that makes it a little more difficult for new people because I would argue that there's a lot more competition now, probably like a
yeah,
lot
yeah,
more availability for other artists to be doing the same thing.
yeah. Absolutely, competition is huge. But the thing with Todd is uh, there aren't too many guys who can deliver 20 pages per month. Um, so when you first you and you also likes your art, you have a good chance to get hired by him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, that speed of completing those pages every month, What's your process? Are you penciling and inking your work or just penciling?
No, I'm inking as well.
So
Yeah.
that's impressive. You're putting out that big of a workload with penciling and inking now. Are you to the point with your art where the pencil stage you are getting the information down that you need, but you're more so finishing it in the ink, or are you pretty tight on your pencils still, even though you're inking your own work?
No, I finish it in ink. That's why I
Okay,
work digitally, because I can erase ink.
nice.
I'm also doing working with 3D software for my backgrounds, which speeds up my work
You use
extremely.
Blender or
Yeah,
something like that?
I I use Blender since about 3 years. I used a different software before that,
Yeah,
and I'm doing this since very early, I think, since mid 2000s. So
nice.
I consider myself, I'm not an expert at many things, but I think I have the 3D
Yeah.
thing pretty much figured out.
Were you using
Yeah,
Google SketchUp before that?
yeah.
Yeah.
SketchUp. I read an article, I think in Wizard World, many years ago about the dirty tricks in the industry,
Yes.
and some of them were that a lot of artists use photographs. So they use like actual actors
Yeah.
who act those scenes for them, and they trace them, and one of the dirty tricks was 3D, and I'm
Yeah.
like, that's not a dirty trick. That's a huge help.
Yeah, it's another form
Um,
of reference too, right? Like you could look at a
yeah,
photo
absolutely.
and take elements from it. Same thing. It's not like the 3D is drawing the background for you. You're still going in there and putting your touches on it and everything and using it as the reference. It has to make it easier to kind of visualize some of the shots too, like your composition and everything. Um,
Yeah,
but again, this is where this whole argument with digital versus traditional and stuff, I try to tell people, like, especially when somebody's expected to produce a monthly book and to be doing that level of workload, the digital tools are such a great asset to an artist who's doing this because there are elements of the process that it can help streamline.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are still artists who do this traditionally, 20 pages per month. Those guys exist as well.
Yeah,
But yeah,
they don't sleep much.
um, yeah, well, they are really fast.
Yeah.
I think Steven Segovia who's doing the Scorch. I think he's working traditionally.
Wow.
Plus, he's doing all his covers. Yeah, he's
I can't
just
imagine
a
getting
genius.
that fast. Traditional method. That's very impressive.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
Well,
Um,
especially with not and not having your work suffer for it, right? Like to maintain, because those guys maintain that level of quality of their work too. So that's the
yeah.
other thing. Like if you can be fast and everything, but does the work start to suffer because of it, or are you maintaining that level? And there's certain guys like him, and there's a few others I can think of that it doesn't diminish at all, and you're just like, how are they doing this?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I
Now,
don't know. I
yeah,
helped. I don't know, taking drugs or something.
different
I don't think
breed,
so.
different breed of people, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. They're just super talented. I
Yes.
think that's it. Yeah.
Now, with you were an early adopter of digital. It sounds like you were dabbling quite some time ago. What was your first introduction on digital? Did you have a like a Wacom tablet? Were you using? I know a lot of people were using Photoshop back in the day to draw because there was no alternative. Like now, there's actual apps that are suited for creating comics, but back then the tools were limited. So, what did you start out with?
Yeah. A Wacom graphics tablet, like the where you look at the monitor and you draw on your desk.
Which was
This was the first
super,
one.
for people who don't know, was so hard to get over that
Yeah.
disconnect between your hand moving down here and then watching the pencil move on the screen.
Yeah. Also, I had back pains from it.
Oh yeah, I
Uh,
bet.
yeah. So I switched to a Wacom Cintiq pretty fast. I think I had one of the first ones, 12 WX or something.
Yeah.
Uh,
Have you
yeah,
just to sidetrack for 1 second? Have you heard the stories of when Todd first had his Cintiq?
I don't think so.
So Todd would literally travel with it. So he would take it in his
The
carry-on
large
on
one.
the plane and take it, and so he
Wow.
could work when he was traveling and everything.
Those things are heavy, like even
Yeah, this
now.
is the old
Wow.
school one. This is like the big one, and he would
Wow.
he would pack it up and take it. Yeah, that's
Oh,
dedication right there.
yeah.
Yeah, because that's when he was first like really getting into doing all his inking on it and everything.
Yeah.
So you also had the Cintiq, and in what program were you using at that point?
I was using Photoshop,
Yeah.
and I still do, by the way.
Okay,
I
so you
switched
still
to Clip.
prefer?
Yeah, I switched to Clip Studio for some time, but the Photoshop Brush engine is just so much better.
Yeah,
So I went back to Photoshop. I sometimes use Clip Studio as well. Depends on the work.
right.
Yeah.
So, with your process, you're in there, you're using Photoshop. You obviously probably have developed a set of tools that you prefer, that you know the feel of and everything. Do you have it pretty narrowed down to a small set of, brushes and tools that you like to use?
Yeah. I have a million brushes, but I only use probably maybe 5 to 8
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Plus,
just
especially brushes like blood splatters, something that those are. I have about 20 or something. I'll use those as well. But
yeah.
drawing brushes, maybe 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of the artists I have on here is the same way. They say I have like 1,000 brushes and there's like three I use. I
Yeah,
think
but
they
also I switch from book to book. I use different brushes.
okay.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
cool.
like, I like this one more for this book, and then the grittier one for this one, the cleaner one for this one. Yeah.
Well, I think that's important because switching up the tools and the look like that, because I've noticed in modern comics lately, you can tell a lot of the people who work digitally. There's a handful of people where their work all looks very similar. Like, and I wonder if that's because they're using the same tool to
Mm,
create the book, right? Because you're like, that brush line looks pretty similar between these three people. It kind of looks the same. So I think that's probably a good pro tip for people like you're doing. Kind of switch it up a bit, use different tools for the different projects, right?
Actually, I use brushes that look as traditional as possible
Yeah.
because sometimes I do this on paper. So I draw my pages, covers or splash pages mostly digital first, and then I print them out in blue and I ink over them. So I want to look my traditional stuff or my digital stuff same as my traditional.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, and then you have
yeah,
originals to sell too.
yeah.
Smart.
Yeah, that's the only reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, because that's the only downside to a 100% digital workflow is not having the originals to sell. And I know a lot of people they call it trad digital, so traditional and digital combined. So you have the originals to sell. So I think that's important, right? Because not everybody out there is going to be able to, especially people who are first getting their start, they need to be able to have the sales of their original art to kind of supplement their income a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. There are so many cover artists who work exclusively digital, and I don't get it because they are missing on a lot of money,
Yeah, especially for cover work.
especially for Spawn books,
Yes.
because there are some really, really crazy Spawn fans, hardcore Spawn fans who buy everything. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, and if Todd ever released any of his pages from his first,
not it's not gonna.
it's never
No,
going to
he was
happen, but it would be, it would be
yeah he was
insane.
telling us. he was sending us on a Zoom call. He's probably giving them to his kids.
Yeah, that's what I've
So
heard him say before in interviews,
yeah,
that he was saving those for his family, which I think is really cool. I'm
yeah,
just happy I have those vault editions that he did, the 11 by 17, scans of those, and I just drool all over those pages looking at
yeah.
them. I had the great fortune, and everybody probably is sick of me retelling this, but I used to work for Todd McFarlane's brother-in-law. So my first job when I was 16 years old was Todd owned a chain of comic book shops, and he co-owned this shop with his brother-in-law, so Wanda's brother, and that was my first job at the age of 16. And
Oh,
the really cool part about it was that, well, one, Todd would come and visit and do signings, and I would get to hang out with him. But the super cool part was he stored all his original art there. So
wow.
there were giant brown paper bags full on all the shelves in the back with the comics, and I would go every lunch break every day, pull one down, and this is
Wow.
Amazing Spider-Man pages, Incredible Hulk pages,
What?
and I just, yeah, surreal, right?
Wow.
I wouldn't
Wow.
even believe it if I didn't live it myself because I probably handled tens of millions of dollars of McFarlane original art when I was a
Wow.
16 through 18 years old, and
No, that's
probably got in a
awesome.
little trouble
That's
for not doing my work because I was taking every opportunity to look at those. Yeah,
wow.
he drew on on the backs of a lot of them, which was really cool.
Yeah. He told us, and I don't think too many people actually saw the original stuff like you did.
Yeah. Yeah, so I
Maybe,
remember
maybe.
a Hulk page. I remember a Hulk page I was looking at, and then I flipped it over, and you could see the rough he did of the Hulk and trying to get the
Yeah,
pose down. And
yeah,
so cool, man. Like, dream for a kid like me who was always a McFarlane fan. I'm like, holy cow. This is unbelievable. Yeah, one day I'll get him on here, and we'll chat about that stuff. There was he owned two shops out here in Washington State at the time, or co-owned. I think he had another one in a different state at one time. But yeah, it was good times. It was like in that prime, time for Image when everything was really booming and going well. So yeah, it was
oh,
definitely a surreal experience that I will cherish for the rest of my life.
oh.
Yeah. Now, with your originals, do you go to cons, or do you have an art rep who is selling your pages online? Because I know a lot of artists, they'll bring work with them to the cons to sell at their booth and this type of thing, but then a lot of people, it's too big of a pain to be packing stuff up and traveling with it and all of that. So what's your preferred method of people being able to get to your original art?
Yeah, I have an art rep in the US. Um, so he's carrying this stuff around.
Nice.
Also, I have like I don't have too many originals. I have about maybe 13 covers, a few pages. So that's like one portfolio.
Yeah.
And I go to cons. Yeah, I go to cons as well. Also, I know a few Spawn fans, and I write them emails if you're interested.
There you go.
Showing them the stuff before anybody else sees it.
Oh, that's really
I
cool.
have like two covers on hold, so yeah.
So as we get close to wrapping things up here, um, is there any work you're doing right now that you're wanting to let everybody know about, that you're excited about? I know there's some secret things you can't talk about. What are you currently working on that you can talk about?
Nothing.
Oh my God. I knew it.
Uh, no, it's. I think the new book will be announced in I think San Diego.
Okay.
It will
Very
be
cool.
teased in San Diego and then announced in New York. Well, teasing is actually announcing, so yeah, San Diego, I think.
Nice. This
Yeah.
is going to be, everybody's going to be waiting with bated breath to hear what this
It's
is.
not Sam and Twitch, by the way. Sam and Twitch is in it, but only a few pages.
Nice. I'm
Yeah.
so excited for you. That has to be like, you got to be so hard to keep the secret, right?
Um, Not anymore.
Okay,
I
you're
got
used to it.
used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're used to everybody asking you. You're like, no, Todd is waiting around the corner. He's going to get me if I say anything. I don't want to
Yeah,
blow my opportunity here.
the cool thing with TMP is I can post snippets, like little teasers,
Okay.
on Instagram. So they let me do that.
Little
So,
cropped
yeah,
panels and things.
yeah. I had a
Awesome.
few in the last weeks, I think, from the
Very
new book.
cool. Well, I understand that this is the first podcast that you've done. Is that true?
Yeah, that's the first one.
Wow, I'm so honored. Yeah, thank you
Yeah,
so
me as
much.
well. I mean,
Hey,
thank you for having me on.
my pleasure. And I hope to have you on again in the future when the project is announced and we can actually talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be awesome. Yeah, after because San Diego's coming up pretty quick.
Yeah, I was supposed to go to San Diego, but because of the deadline, I can't. It's really, really tight.
Have you been to San Diego before?
Yeah, I've been there last time, I think, in 22.
Okay, I've gotten to go one time, and it was quite the experience. Yeah, it's. I think everybody needs to experience that grand scope, the grand scale of the con that is at least one time.
Yeah, but I think New York feels even larger than San Diego.
Yeah, I've heard this, and I haven't been able to go, but I've definitely, that one's on my list because I've always heard like really good things about that one as well.
So New York, the artist alley is much bigger.
Okay.
Uh,
See, that
in
would
San Diego,
appeal. That would appeal to me more because San Diego was a lot of the other stuff, and the artist alley wasn't that huge.
the good thing about San Diego is Image and Todd McFarlane have a booth, but that's
Nice.
the only con where they have one. Um, and he's I think this year he might be just there for one day, uh, but he's there all the time. In New York, he's as well, but they don't have a booth.
Yeah.
But in New York, the artist alley is huge, and in San Diego, the artist alley is tiny.
I do have a cherished memory from my one experience at San Diego, and that was the fact that I got to meet Kim Jung-gi and have him do
Oh,
drawing inside my book
wow,
that I got from him and everything, and watch him
you're
draw
lucky.
in live and in person. Like, so I cherish that memory now, especially with him being gone. It's like, oh my
Yeah,
goodness, I actually got to be in his presence, watch him work and everything. So that was pretty dang cool.
yeah, I'm jealous. He was
That's
something
another
amazing. Yeah,
phenomenal.
another level. Yeah, another
Yeah,
planet, like another universe, actually.
absolutely. Well, listen, my friend, I appreciate you being on once again, and I want to give you the spotlight here to let everybody know where they can find you online, where they can find your original art, the best places to follow you on social media, all that good stuff. The stage is yours. Let everybody know.
So I have a website, but it's old. You can go there, but actually, if you want, there's my email address on the website, and it's thomasnachlik.com.
All right.
But you can find me on Instagram. I post regularly new stuff, teasers, snippets, covers, videos. Um, you can message me on Instagram. I don't probably don't respond right away, but I read everything. That's for sure. I have an art dealer, and his website is on Instagram as well.
Oh, perfect.
It's I'm collectible. I am collectible art. I am collectible art. What just one word and then .com. Yeah,
Perfect. I'll make sure to put all those links in the description for everybody as well.
awesome.
Excellent, my friend. Well, hang out with me for a moment. Want to tell everybody who's listening, if you're listening, That means you already found the podcast. Greatly appreciate you tuning in. If you enjoy the podcast and you want to like it, that'd be great. You want to subscribe, awesome. Share it, set the notification bell, all that good stuff. Hey, if you enjoy it, do all those things. If not, no worries. And in the meantime, everybody, keep it nerdy.